You asked me uh, what has changed about the mountain politics in Mount Kenya after the impeachment. And I think my response would be that the changes we are seeing in Mount Kenya region do not start with the impeachment. The changes we are seeing in Mount Kenya region started way before the impeachment, because there was discontent within the mountain leaders that their issues are not addressed or responded to as per the expectations. Especially those of us from Meru region, we had a lot of problems with the deputy president then, because we had an agreement. And this agreement was struck between the current president, a presidential candidate then, himself as the representative of the region, and ourselves as the members of the UDA. Because we were opposing or coming out to oppose another party called the BAS, and this party belonged to the Meru, who are our brothers, our sisters, our cousins, people we lived with. We had to agree what is in it for us as Meru people, and how does whatever is in the government for us, how do we protect that? We sat at Alba and we struck an agreement. And the current president clearly said that whatever belongs to the mountain will basically pass through the deputy president. In other words, he was our kingpin. And we agreed as Meru that the irreducible minimum is the positions we have as Meru people, because we had many positions in the government. And we said the current government, when we take the government, because we are very sure we're taking the government, we should be able to sustain those positions. And if there are changes, we allow the president to rationalize in making his government. We say that in rationalizing, he should always remember, if he takes a position from us, he should compensate. And then add us more, because we have actually gone against our brothers who are in other parties. We discovered very few months after, when appointments started coming out, that that particular provision was not adhered to. I'm one of those who came out strongly at a function, a prize-giving function in Adwan Award. And I said, our agreement has been broken. But upon scrutiny of what was happening, the president was very categorical and clear. Whatever belonged to Mount Kenya, he never touched without consulting the then deputy president. But the deputy president, instead of rationalizing who to give and how to manage and take care of the region, satisfy our needs, he appeared like he just wanted to pick positions from Meru and take them elsewhere. And by that time I was commenting, 6 of our positions had already gone to Mount Kenya West. And not when we followed further, and I'll tell you the reason why we believe this happened. He was doing this at personal level, not at community level. He was not giving to the Kikuyus, he was giving to friends within the Kikuyu community or some other friends within other communities. A clear example of a position that was given to another community is like the chairman of the Kenya Firearms Bureau. We had our Sania, who was the chair. And instead of being compensated with another, he gave it to another community, which is not even Kikuyu, Meru, or not in Gema. So the idea is that he distributed the positions to benefit himself. And we got to know that. So that brought in discontent. And we met in Embu. And we said, we do not want anything else remaining within the government circles to pass through him, because he is misrepresenting us, or we are unrepresented as a people. 2 days later, 48 members of parliament from Mount Kenya West met in Nyandarua. And they said, even us, we are not satisfied. Just as our friends from the other side, Mount Kenya East, are saying, we do not want this gentleman to be in charge of our region, to distribute our positions within the region. Let us pass through the person who was in charge of the Interior, Ministry of Interior then, Professor Gedore Kedekri, because we knew he was a honest man, non-partisan, and you listen to the voice of the people. That is where, that was an initial show or an outburst of a lot of pressure from within, because we realized that we were getting shortchanged. And not by the president, by the deputy president. So that was the initial thing. So this boiled up, and then we went further, and when you speak against what he's doing, he isolates you from that. He keeps you out of his company. And sometimes he could even greet you like this. He doesn't even look at you. So people felt very uncomfortable in his company. There were those who could appreciate because he had some personal relationship with them. But there are those of us whom he disregarded and sort of mistreated. And we felt unwelcome in his company. If you do not accompany him to a function, and the function happens to be in your domain, let's say in your county, you will just go and talk to the people against you. Ask them, don't you have a problem with electricity? They say yes. Don't you have a problem with roads? Yes. Where is your member of parliament? Is not here. Would you like a member of parliament that comes to me so that I can take him to look for these things? People will say yes. Let us, your member of parliament doesn't work with me. So you won't get these things. So we realized that he's going to sack all of us very early. And therefore, there was total discontent with his position as a deputy president. And even before the impeachment, we were already not in working terms with him. So impeachment was just a process of getting rid of him and continuing the government. And let me say something. 75% of the members of parliament or the members of UDA then had voted for Professor Kithure Kindiki to become the torchbearer or the pallbearer of the region, because the president, the deputy president then, and the presidential candidate had told us, I'll get a running mate from the mountain. So you people sort yourselves out and give me a name. So he was given several names, and then through a process of elimination, he was left with two. So he had to decide between Kithure Kindiki and Gachagua. So somehow he took Gachagua against actually our will. And soon after, he realized that we knew what we were talking about. We knew he was not a good man. We knew about his history, and we were fearing that history would reflect. And sure enough, within a very short time, it was about himself, his family, and his friends, not necessarily about the region, and not necessarily about supporting everyone, even as he had promised. And even now, I'm surprised when he goes to people to try and lie to them that he is going to be, he's a very good person, when you know he's not good at all. After the voting, of course, now it is very clear what kind of a person he is. Yeah, after impeachment, we know what kind of a person he is. And the world is watching, and people know what kind of a person he is. There's nobody who associates positively with chaos. There's nobody who associates with people being killed. And we have seen many situations where there has been stage managing of certain, events and occurrences to depict the government in a bad way. I would like to say that Gachagua has divided the region because he has his followers, and they have a narrative that they're trying to sell. And those others who are impartial, and they are Kenyans in their approach, and they would like to look at things more rationally, are on the other side. And it is a little bit more divided right now. And even if there was to be a support for anyone, it will not be everybody, there will not be block voting. It will be now voting the individual consciously knowing who is this I'm electing and why am I electing the person. Yeah, of course, it will have effect based on what people understand, what people know. I would like to say that by and large, the people of the region do not know who Gachagua is. They really don't know him. They do not know him. And we will need the people educated. There's need for a lot of civic education to say exactly, you know somebody by his decisions and the actions thereafter. If we are able to reach the people and tell him the kind of decisions he made and the kind of steps he took and the kind of actions that follow on some of those decisions, then probably people will know what kind of a person he is. But right now he has portrayed himself as a saint. He is being mistreated, and if you're a good person, once you are removed from a position, you sit back. You fight rationally, using the Constitution and the laws that there are in a country. You don't engage in unnecessary name calling and insults, and I mean, it doesn't make sense. Like we have seen, Raila has been beaten many times as a presidential candidate, but rarely have we seen the kind of atrocities that have followed this deputy president's removal. And if you look at what happened on the 25th of June last year, the president has already given a statement. He has already made a statement. Then the deputy president goes to make a statement somewhere else. So that tells you something. Right now, I'd like to say that there is a lot of misconception of what is happening in Kenya. There's a lot of lack of understanding of the real issues, or the core issues, the core concerns. Let me say to a certain extent, he's been able to convince quite a number of people that he's being mistreated. But one thing I would like to ask Kenyans is this. Now, this is a president who has fallen off with the deputy president, with his running mate during the campaign. The way that was boiled was not really part of our decision, it was their decision. When you decide to get married, it is not the community that comes and tells you, you must marry this one, and if you don't marry this one, or if you divorce this person, we shall fight you. I think we may be fighting the wrong war. This is a marriage between these two individuals. They disagreed, they can't move together. Right now we need to hold this Kenya as our country. We should not go into beyond the limits in trying to fight for two people who sat down and agreed to work together and now have disagreed, and now they are parted ways. Why are we engaging in a fighting for a marriage that has been broken down? So I think we need to be realistic as a region, to look at Kenya as a country, as a unitary state, which cannot be broken into pieces, and that Mount Kenya, yes, Mount Kenya is significant, is key in the development of this country, but Mount Kenya is not the only population we have in Kenya. And you have seen a situation where President Moi worked with very few people from Mount Kenya, and he was the president for 24 years. We made a lot of noise, but that's the only thing we could get. We called him all sorts of names, but how did it help development in our backyards? It never did. So we have a lot to lose without being conscious of our, situation and what needs to be done. The high-octane politics appearing in Mount Kenya right now are also orchestrated. They are planned. They are really very well articulately, planned. And even we know how they are planning. First of all, they try to make sure they portray the government in a bad way. They want to show that it is a government which is doing it. We've known in this country, the government has used all sorts of means to contain deviance. And I'm talking of cases where the government used to, in the past, government was using even NPR, National Police Reservists, what we are calling Kenya Police Reservists then. They never used to wear uniform, but they were eliminating criminals. We know there are some criminals who have really been wanted. They are wanted, and they are classified as most wanted and publicized all over. And anybody who are told, if you see this one, report it to us. Sometimes we find them killed because they are known to be criminals. So bad elements within our society are normally removed somehow. What we are doing, we are allowing emotions to override reasoning as a region. And that is not good for this country. I would like Kenyans to remember that we have only one Kenya, only one country. And if we are not careful, we can easily drive this country to... Maybe one question we should be asking ourselves is kind of behavior, regarding this kind of behavior, we may say that, after impeachment. Does it convince Kenyans that he is actually a leader? No. Leaders are always composed. They are able to take a lot of, push and pull. They are able to manage their situation. Yeah. So even his politics is not mature. He's a one-term politician. He's a one-term member of parliament. I mean, that's what is driving his idea of one-term. Yeah. So he really doesn't have experience. Very many people have been in leadership. They have been, pushed. They have been called all sorts of names. They have been mistreated by people. but they have braved through because they know where they want to take the community. Community needs to be led, guided, you know. So in guiding and leading a community, we have to be very careful how we do it. The way we are trying to, the formula we are trying to use, first of all, I think it's very hurried. It was not very well thought through. Secondly, there is no strategy. And I don't even think there is means to deliver that particular strategy. So there's total confusion, and things cannot be done in confusion. Anything done in a hurry may not end up to anything useful. What will ideally happen in the mountain, and it is already showing out, is that it will be a poaching area. Just come and pick yours and go with them. That's what will happen. So our politicians will be running upon the mountain. There will be no block voting, that I can assure you. Then what will happen is that people will concentrate on their turf. That where you feel people appreciate you, you can focus there and get the votes. And when you get the votes, post-election, government will focus on those areas. In terms of forming the government, although of course development is supposed to be spread across the country without any discrimination, but when it comes to forming the government, they will also follow that. It must be which region listen to us when things were difficult. But I can assure you that the mountain will be fairly divided.
We've seen several occasions the former deputy president saying that trying to advise the president that the mountain is gone. What do you make of that?
I don't think so. If you go closer to the people and engage them closely, you realize that people have no issues with what is happening up there. I think we are fighting a totally different issue, and I think the former deputy president was very lucky to fit into a situation where, there is already an ongoing movement. First of all, we are fighting joblessness, and it is justified. The youth are not employed. We have not created as many jobs as we ought to have done. And this is not a mistake of President Ruto. This is a mistake from President Kenyatta himself, the first president, the second president, the third president, the fourth president, especially the fourth president. The fourth president was very good in talking to the youth. I have been able to check his speeches. In 59 of around 62 speeches, he has always soothed the youth as they wait for him to exit. Let us wait and exit and left the problem. First of all, borrowed to the limit and then managed the youth, and we were saying, even last parliament, I remember I have stood on that floor of the house and said several times, we are sitting on a time bomb. Why? Because we are not creating jobs. Let's invest in productive sectors so that we can roll out jobs. And there are very many sectors we can enjoy. There are many value chains in this country that can be supported, and we create jobs very fast. So we are not doing that. We want to sustain the status quo. We want to run the systems as they have always been. And, configuration of these systems needs to also be audited. We need to audit when you create a position of a cabinet secretary. What is the package theory? How does it respond to the issues that we have right now? Does it create undue comfort? What about the position of a PS? What about the position? All positions need to be evaluated. And then we see, what can we get out of these positions to help us create jobs? Then we invest in productive sectors and create jobs. I was in Rwanda the other day and I was able to traverse the countryside. I saw many things that are happening, though in low-key. People do their own. People do the drainage themselves, men and women. People do, the grading of their roads and so on. And it's in some very hilly and difficult terrain. People do it by hand. Why do they do that? They would like somebody engaged so that you can earn a living. You can have something at the end of the day. We are not in a situation where this country has so many workers who can do so much, but they don't have an opportunity. And that's why there's a problem. That's why you can be able to get a few people to pay a few coins and they burn a building. Or they follow you the whole day. Because they are idle, they are not engaged in any economic activity. Again, the issues of minding about the younger people who are even very much trained is key. So we need to ask ourselves, when we appoint a cabinet secretary and give him a docket, what kind of targets do we give him? Do we tell him now, thank you very much, now you can continue running business as usual? Or are we responding to the current issues? They need to be given target. You're told here, you create 1 million jobs. And you report progressively how you are creating these jobs. I know in programmatic arrangements, you can create jobs. You can create jobs in many ways, but you're not doing that. We need to do it so that we can also show the greater majority of very, frustrated youth that we are minding about their business. That will be the direction that the mountain will take come 2027 will be defined a lot more by the levels at which people have been made to understand their circumstances, the possibilities and direction of change of their circumstances, and what effort the government has put in that direction by then. It will definitely be in terms of how much has this government responded to your issues, and how much faith do you have that this government is going to respond further and in a more detailed manner to your issues? And then that's what will define the direction of the mountain. Today, there is nobody who is foolish. People will vote consciously. But the worst scenario is to vote emotively. And right now, people are basically emotional. Most of the people just hate the government because of the few things, the finance bill, the impeachment, and a few others. We will listen to people. Those are the kind of things that they are. But then, if people get to understand why, because the finance bill which was dropped is not the one which was circulating. What was circulating was terrible. And I think the other thing that is really important is for the media to tell the truth. We have mainstream media and social media. Whatever circulates is not factual, it's not verifiable, it's not reliable, it's not the truth. They try to basically bring in other issues. And I wonder, we are trying to ban our own country by trying to fuel discontent. When you feel discontent so much, what do you gain? And when you ban this country, which media house will be existing? Which social media platform will be existing? I think we need to be very careful what we do, because when people decide to go and beat policemen, ban their office, taking guns, that's going beyond the limits. And then on the other side, you quote the Constitution, somebody was killed. My friend, the same Constitution prescribes that you should also be stopped by whatever means to break somebody's house. Many people have guns. If you try to break my door, I'll shoot you. Yeah. If you come and try to break my door, I will not allow you in. So why should we allow somebody to break a bank? The police is there to do that. How can we be allowed? You saw how people are vandalizing the ATM machines. And you think we can continue that way as a country and really be very popular? We are messing up our image even to the international community. Many people believe in us. We are a very good and working community. Let us talk and then agree on how to move forward. I think we need a national conversation. Conclave, I don't think so, but we need a national conversation. Because conclave has a connotation of a few people meeting, locked up to try and make some decisions. We are tired of those decisions. Let the youth engage. Let them tell us exactly what they want and how they think we could do it. Then we try to shape that by telling them the reality, because you have the experience. We know, we have seen these things. And then you can strike a compromise somewhere and finally move this country forward. The most important thing is to move this country. We have seen countries like Malaysia, Singapore, China. China decided to move from the comfort of the urban to the rural areas. China is sorted out. We can basically adopt such a move. Why not? Because everybody can be useful. There's nobody who is useless in this world. All they need is to be given an opportunity to practice something and to earn a living.
They want to unseat you.
No, that is always the trend. The trend is that people would like to gang up against you. Even if you do a very good job, there are some people who will be dissatisfied because they are not the ones who are doing it. If you appear successful, there are others who do not like success. There are others who interpret success in terms of what? There are others who interpret success in terms of what is in it for me. So when you take a different kind of leadership where you focus on the people and helping the people to be better, most of the time you are negated. You are people who are against you. We had the same thing that the last election. They tried to get a candidate whom they believe is the only one who can get rid of him. And what happened? We doubled we multiplied this votes by 2. So the people of Tigania West are clear. I am just seeking for one more term. One term. Why? Because I would like all the schools to be academized. We are academizing the schools, making them like academies, making them new, clean, perfect. We would like our own network to be improved. It is really in pathetic state. I would like to continue educating the poor children, giving them scholarships through India bursary. And because we have a scholarship system, and we give our bursary perfectly. That is what is beating them, because they have never done that, anything close to that. We would like to make sure that all schools have all the facilities they need. We are doing laboratories, we are doing whatever. We would like to bring economic activities, to realize the economic activities that we have been developing and our strategic plan. Like, of course, we are forming cooperatives, grain growing cooperatives. For the first time in the history of this country, grain growers will have a bonus. Tigania West will be a case example where you can learn how to create a bonus from the grains. Because, we put together these smallholders. They'll be supplying their grain to the stores, which we have constructed with the help of the government. We've done 3 stores, each with a capacity of that 5,090 kilogram bags. And we are sure that when people aggregate their produce there, and they are paid the cost, the value of the product on the day of, as per the prevailing prices on the day of aggregation, then 2 months down the line, that price will have doubled. They will still get a bonus which is close to what they got. And that is sustainable. And they will always rely on such a system to even educate their children, because you can easily go, because it's a warehouse receipting, you can go and get a receipt and you get money from the bank and pay for fees. That's not the only thing that we are doing. We're doing many things. We've a Kenya School of Agriculture, which is coming up for this region, from Ukambani to Ethiopia and to Somalia. The whole of this region, the Kenya School of Agriculture is here. It's coming up. We've got our feedlot. The first feedlot to work in Kenya is in Tigania West. We have very many things that we are doing. So we wanted to tie up these things, and then I hand over Tigania to the hands of somebody else when I have accomplished what I needed to accomplish. I've driven education from the last sub-county in Meru to around number 5, 6. We want to push it further to 1, 2, 3. And then when we leave it, Tiganians will be engaging, they'll be judging. You'll say, this person did 1, 2, 3, and you, what are you doing? So if people come up and say, oh, we want to assist that one, for reasons that are not very realistic, the Tigania people are very wise. They know what to do. They'll tell, oh, karibu, nakupigia makofi, wanafanya nini. Lakini when it comes to the ballot, they will elect the right person. So I'm not worried. After one time, I will go for the governor. Oh. I want to be the governor of Meru. 2013, whoever is there, beware. I am coming. I will be there. Yes, I would like to be the governor of Meru. At least to lift up the lessons and scale them across Meru. Lift up lessons from Tigania West and scale them across Meru. And we'll leave Meru a better state, better county than it is. Yeah. So for this time, I'm not interested in governor. I'm not interested in anything else other than just finishing up my work. Yeah.
Wow. Thank you.
Asante sana.